Hi there, Sam Sorbo here for the Accidental Homeschooler. I know you guys may still be struggling with this idea that you are now in charge of your children. And so today we're going to talk about how do we do this? I've had a number of people reach out and say, can you just cover sort of the basics about how do we get it done? How do we go about it? It seems so overwhelming. And so to that end, I would refer you to a bunch of my videos. Certainly go back to the beginning of the COVID ones and start making your way through them. And so I try to do this. I'm going to be brief. One thing I'll recommend is get my book. There it is. They're Your Kids. An inspirational journey from self-doubt to homeschool advocate, because I was where you are today. And it is a daunting task, especially if you approach it from the standpoint of, wow, I can't send my kids to school, so I guess I have to do this now. There are lots of different ways to get it done, so don't be thinking that this is don't be thinking that this choice is forever, because you always have options. Although I would take public school sort of off the table, but there are private schools, there are small Christian schools, there are co-ops to do it. It's not all like on your shoulders. And I say that because I know that it feels like a big burden. But at the same time, I want to point out that it should feel like a burden. You should be the person taking responsibility for your children's welfare and education. That's correct. So to that end, equipping. I had somebody ask me this, well, what about college? Okay, so if your kids are young, don't worry about college. It's so far off in the future, forget it, okay? By the way, colleges have changed so much now. It's no longer sort of the be-all and end-all that it used to be. And we need to grow up a little bit in our thinking. I think we've been sort of lulled into this weird idea that college is it, and then you're done, and then you have a life and you are successful and you make a lot of money or something. And that's not the case. It's demonstrably not the case. So let's stop believing that, and let's think about, what do we really want for our children? Maybe that's what we should talk about, is the goals that we have for our kids. If you just want your children to make a lot of money, then, well, college is demonstrably not necessarily the choice. But what about what the kids want? Maybe you have a child who's really not that materialistic and doesn't want a lot of money and just wants to find fulfillment and to have a purpose, which I think is really what we ought to be equipping our kids for. So that would be something to sit down with and really think about, is sort of what are the options for the kids, and what does your child really want out of life? And what do you want for them out of life? Don't you want them to have fulfillment and find happiness? So that's definitely something to put into consideration, and certainly something to consider when you're looking at the education of your child and what you want the child to be taught and to learn, about. So, how do we get it done? How do we choose curriculum? Oh my gosh. I mean, go online. The curricula are, it's overflowing. So how do you choose? First thing you do is you have to delineate your values. What are your values? If your values align with what's being taught in the public school, good luck with that, because what's being taught in the public school is survival of the fittest, and survival of the fittest is lie, cheat, and steal. And frankly, kill people. Survival of the fittest. Everything's justified. I was just doing it because I wanted to get ahead. If your values don't align, then good. Then you have to figure out what values work for you. Then you don't want K through 12. But what do you want? Well, maybe you're not Christian. Maybe you're Jewish. Maybe you're secular. Maybe you're like, well, I don't know. I just want my kids to grow up to be good people. Okay, again, survival of the fittest won't get you there. Because it's a contradiction. You can't tell a child survival of the fittest and don't bully. So maybe you need to do a little bit of a search on that, and then you figure out where your values align, and you search that. You search out curricula that would work with those values. Best thing to do: go to homeschool communities online, like the Texas Homeschool Coalition. They have a great Facebook page, but there are plenty of other ones. CHEA, California Home Educators Association, CHEA. North Carolina has one. I think every state, really, as far as I know, has a fairly vibrant homeschool community, because the people who are homeschoolers are devoted. Like, it's a choice, right? It's like a lifestyle. It's a very positive choice. And then you reach out to them and you say, well, I think this, but I don't think that, and so this is what I'm looking for. And you get recommendations, and you can probably preview almost every curriculum online. So most of them, and you start there. And then the caveat to that is, don't go and spend a whole bunch of money before you have a chance to really look at what you're getting yourself into. And what works for one child may not work well for another child. So it's a bit of a tightrope, but that's part of getting to know your children. That's part of the joy of being a parent. All right, so once you're, people ask me about, well, grades. Well, if your child isn't going to college, you don't really have to worry about grades much. You just need to go online. Look, all of these questions are easily answered by joining a homeschool group, joining a homeschool group, so you can ask people. But a transcript is simply, if you look at your old transcript from high school, all it says is biology, life sciences, whatever. So you keep a transcript of what your kid studies. It's that easy. It's not that hard. It also depends on your state, I think, a little bit. So you have to check the laws in your state, what's required in terms of record keeping and stuff. But that's pretty easy to find. So it's just not rocket science. And the amount of effort that you have to put in is probably relatively equivalent to the amount of effort that you need to put in to get your child organized in a sort of a public school setting, basically. So that's what I'll say about that. So that's about equipping and encouraging you guys. It is easier than you think, and it's more rewarding than you ever dreamed. And so I hope that you'll join me on the journey of strengthening your family and your relationship with your children. That is home education. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Please like my channel, and then also go to my Facebook page, the official Sam Sorbo Facebook page. Throw me a like there. Follow me on Twitter @The Sam Sorbo Show. All the links appear in the description below. Thanks. Bye.